Hi, Jennifer Main here. Just to hopefully dispel a few myths around peak performance. Kind of what is peak performance? So, the way I see it is, a lot of people think of peak performance as winning the gold medal, as being at the top of their game, as being the one who's winning, a competitor, people who are pushing and fighting and, making things happen. That may be a little part of it. But actually, the way I see peak performance is that it is you at your very best. It is you fully living within your abilities, not only what you were born with, but what you've practiced and cultivated and learned to hone and express over the years. It is you without the baggage, the fear, your doubts, your worries, without so much of that getting in your way. And it's you really fully embodied in your body, in your being, in yourself, living the truth of who you are. So I think a lot of times, ideas around peak performance are only looking at specific areas of your life, specific slivers, athletic performance, utilizing your mind, being a leader, being a, whatever those aspects are. And they are wonderful and they are all great. And we absolutely want to hone those skills and work on them. But my point of view is that if you don't actually look at the whole of you, you'll never reach the aspects. So when I look at things around peak performance, it is really tapping into that aspect. If you want to call it your higher self, your dharma, purpose, soul, whatever word works for you there. It's getting out of just the behavioral aspects, the little choices, the little things you're doing each day, and really starting to look at the why behind them, the meaning behind them, and expanding your mind, expanding your energy, your heart, your perspective, so that it includes something more than just the little goals, the little, the temporary things that we often seek after. Some of those are great for dopamine hits. Some of those are great for kind of temporary, pat on the back, a little bit of an ego fix. But again, if we're not going deeper into it, if we're not getting into the heart and soul of things, it's going to be a very temporary fix, and it's actually not going to be very satisfying. And if it's not satisfying, you're not going to continue it. It's going to fall apart. And often what happens is people get frustrated and angry at themselves. They're really hard and critical on themselves, and it just is a blow to confidence and, all the things that we work so hard to work on and to build up. So what I would encourage you to do, if you're someone who is interested in that world of peak performance, of being the best you can be, of really capitalizing on your talents and your gifts and really being able to apply them and have an impact, is really getting deeper into the why it's important for you. Why is it important for you to express that part of yourself? What kind of impact are you wanting to have on the world with those talents or with those gifts? What is it that you're really seeking for or striving for, and not in a way that is totally outside of you, where you're just looking for feedback from others, or there's got to be some marker measure to hit before you're happy or satisfied. But what is that voice inside of you, that feeling inside of you saying, this is important, this is part of who you are, this is part of why you're here. And the more you can tap into that and create from that space, the much more likely you are to actually live in that area of peak performance and actually be able to perform at your best. So I would encourage you to kind of take some time to meditate on that, ask yourself some questions about the whys behind your choices and the whys behind your decision. If it feels like a temporary fix or an ego boost or, something that's more surface, then I would encourage you to go deeper. And the reality is that, a lot of people are looking for hacks and quick fixes. And if you're looking for hacks, you're going to have to put a lot of hacks in your life to actually make it work. And the reality is they're not going to be deep enough. They're not going to be satisfying enough. They're not really going to work for you. It's hard to keep up with all that stuff. So again, the deeper you go into that why, what that does is it creates fundamental shifts on some deeper levels. So you're doing less hacking and less surface behavioral changes and more of really just going deeper into the heart and soul of it. And when things shift from that deeper space, you expand energetically, you expand physically, mentally. That openness is what allows you to be more in flow and to be able to, again, to really operate at those higher levels that you know that you're capable of. So if you want to add anything to this, you have any questions, please feel free to get in touch with me at withjennifer.com.